Peter, what's Kelly's Eye looking at today?
Today, David, chimney pots.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6.
Yep. And a couple of sort of covers, beehive or whatever they call them, over the top, where they've taken the pots off. And if you look at the pots, you'll see that they are different.
Well, there are 2 on the large chimney which are the same, and 2 on the outside which might be the same. No, they're not the same. One is older than the other, I suspect. And then the ones at the rear you can't quite see properly.
No. So we've got a collection of chimney pots. And that has given nobody a clue.
No.
If that isn't a double negative or something. We're here in Onchan, which you can tell because the sun's shining. And in front of us is a house of 1840s vintage. Come back to that in a minute. And it's got 2 chimneys. One flue parallel with the front, and the other one running at right angles to it, going down through the centre of the rear section of the house. The house roof is an M shape. In other words, it goes up and down and up and down. So it's got a central valley running through. On the front there are 2 slight projections with gablets projecting above.
They're not even gables then, they're just things that pretend to be gables.
That's right, yeah, because the height of the room is already within the eaves height. It's for decoration, and then it's had a porch added I think in the late 70s, maybe a bit later, sort of done to match. And what we're looking at in fact is Onchan Vicarage.
Yes. That strikes me as a very narrow front door. Is it, or is it just a tall front door?
Well, it was a ready-made front door. It's not the original. Original's in behind and
Yes.
is larger. But when this porch was put on, the architects decided to put sort of 2 rounded-headed windows either side of the door, narrow doors. They should have been Gothic, not rounded-headed. And then the front door itself was a standard off-the-shelf or out-of-the-warehouse door with a fanlight above, no split, no decoration on it. But that door is a replacement of the 1970s or 80s door, and that's actually got Gothic heads, which is what the side windows should really have been to tie in with the church and the style of the vicarage.
But the door strikes me as being too narrow to get any large piece of furniture in, and I wouldn't be surprised if certain things have had to be put through windows.
Well, it's quite possible, but that's what happens in modern day. Architects don't design and say, I'll have the door that wide. They go to the catalogue and say, how wide do doors come in? And it's probably 2'6", whereas they probably could have got a 2'9" at the time, which would have given you that much more latitude.
Generally, basically, apart from this front porch and maybe a few other bits, is more or less as it would have been originally?
No.
Not at all.
Windows. Windows have changed twice. What we're seeing today are windows which Nick Wells, the previous vicar, had put in not long before he left, and they're sliding sash windows with small pane. They replaced windows that were put in 1938. They replaced windows that were put in the 70s, same time as the porch, which in turn replaced the 1938 windows, which were metal framed. And when they put the metal frames in, they opened they widened the openings. So the original windows, although they've now got sliding sash, were sliding sash, but were narrower, not as wide as what we see today. Probably much the same as the width as the centre window. The building itself goes back 1842. It was complete. The Onchan Vicarage Act of 1838 gave the people of Onchan permission to go ahead and start raising money, and by 1842 it was up. Designed by a chap called Webb, W-E-B-B-E, who became partner of John Welsh, the architect, although John Welsh went off to North Wales and Webb did the work here. And a sort of Gothic in style, paid for, of course, by public subscription and a little bit of help from the locals in carting stone and the sort of thing that they did if they couldn't afford to give money. And has served Onchan since 1842, so here we are in 2005 and still going strong.
And it's well positioned for the vicar to look over his flock here, because you can see practically most of the village from here, can't you? Or the original village. Anyway.
Indeed, yes, a good position. And there he goes. He's just getting out of his car, but he's not using the narrow front door. He's going round the back.